And you might, I'm Jay LaFleur, I represent the Council of Central Louisiana.
Chuckman Young from the Louisiana Agility.
Nick Altero from Tulane University.
Wendell Curall, the Association of Floodplain Management.
Brian Hyden with Harvey Canal Industrial Association.
Jay Madison Drake, I'm with Louisiana Engineering Society and the National Society of Professional Engineers.
Norma Jean Mattei, University of New Orleans.
Jerry Clear, American Society of Civil Engineers.
Patrick Carrier, Southern University.
Rick Kobeck, LSU.
Lehman Ellis, Our Lady Holy Cross College.
Robert Travis Scott with the Public Affairs Research Council of Louisiana.
David Peterson with the Attorney General's Office and Designated Counsel for the CPRI Board.
Shipman, Thank you. And Natalie works with Lakeland and has been supporting my work with this committee. On the list, for anyone who picked up the list, David wasn't listed, but that's an oversight on my part. With that, we'll begin our agenda. We clearly have a quorum. We have everyone here except for Dean Priestley. He had told us from the earliest that he would not be able to make this date, so we have 100% of what we expected here now. I'd like to open this with a thank you to the committee. I think when we started working on this, we did not expect to quite have this much fun. And we've gotten a bunch of attention and energy, and I really appreciate the fact that we continue to have people who bring a commitment to independence and to using their objective judgment to do what's best from our mission and what's best from the Flood Protection Authority mission. I also want to comment that there have been a decent amount of press reports on this, and that I personally have had zero attempt to be pressured by anyone from either the governor, the administration, the oil and gas industry, anyone of that sort. Just so if anyone feels differently or has been, it would be fine for you to express that, but I want that on the record as well, because that is clearly something I've not experienced. So if anyone has had any experience, feel free to speak. If you've not, then I think that would be good to confirm. I have some other comments, but I know, Robert, you had something you wanted to start with as well.
I appreciate it, Jay, and I guess if nothing else, we all have the saints to hold us together. But I wanted to thank the Attorney General's office, David Peterson in particular, for responding to the request that I had made, trying to clarify the 90-day window and exactly when it shut. And they came back with, I think, an expeditious and I think professional response to us on the 90 days, concluding that today we are within that window, and I do hope, it's my hope, that the committee will try to finish its business today within that 90-day window. I also had other questions for David in the AG's office on the post-nomination process. Again, they were very professional and expeditious in delivering to us some information about how to look at the process beyond this stage, if in fact there is any process beyond this stage. Of course, not everyone was going to agree with every lawyer, but having said that, I do appreciate the fact that they've been very dedicated to helping the committee. I think buried within all this is some opinion or more guidance on Mr. Pineda, and I think the Attorney General's office can explain that better than anyone else, but I think we probably have at least some guidance from them now on his status, because I think a lot of us have had questions about where that stands. I also just want to say thanks to the applicants who are from outside of the three parishes that we're focused on today. We do have a number of applications from Baton Rouge, St. Charles, Jefferson Parish, and it doesn't look to me like that we have any seats open in those jurisdictions. So I just want to make it clear that we appreciate those applications. We may be able to use them next time, but that we're not rejecting those applications as a committee. What we're doing is we just don't have a seat for them because that's the way the statute reads. There probably will come a time when we will have a seat for them. I just wanted to bring up one other issue that we're going to face, and especially for those who are here attending today who are not in the committee, we run into this issue all the time. It's not just about making good nominations, it's about fitting the matrix. And what we're going to run into today, I think, is the possibility that we've got some good engineer applicants from St. Tammany, and we have some good engineer applicants from New Orleans. And but we only have one so-called at-large spot, and we probably only have one or two of the professional slots. And we're not going to be able to put someone we declare as an engineer applicant into the professional slot. So we could end up in a situation where we need to think ahead about what we're doing. If we say, for example, put engineers in our St. Tammany recommendations for nominations, that would mean we couldn't probably put them in New Orleans.
Can I have a clarification on that?
Yeah, please.
Because it seems to me that we could nominate an engineer and not a scientist.
Let me get to that. I'm going to say, if we're simply going by starting from the standpoint of using jurisdiction and filling in with St. Tammany, maybe doing an engineer there, two engineers there.
Let me do this. Let me suggest we hold this one.
Okay.
Until we get into the east, discussion, then we'll have that immediate context and we can work with the grid in front of us.
That's okay with me. I just wanted to make sure we understood that part of this discussion is going to be trying to mix those. But there is, just the point I wanted to make is you could approach it from the standpoint of filling a St. Tammany and a New Orleans seat, or you could approach it from the standpoint of filling an at-large or a professional seat with consideration for jurisdiction. You could come at it either way, and in coming at it those two different ways, you could actually come up with a different mix. So we'll get into this as we go on, but I just want to explain that's just part of the logistics of what we have to deal with.
And the reason for that is that there are more technical people on this board than the mix will allow for us to continue to add technical people. That's simply the way it is, even though the spot itself was. Let's go back to the timeline. Any questions on that? We had notice on August 28th, and we met the 30-day notice. All the applicants had that period to apply by statute, and based on the way that the date worked, if we complete our work today, then we still comply with the 90-day deadline for us to meet the statute requirement of sending nominees to the governor. So even though it has to do with weekends and how you count all that. Any questions? Okay, let's take the easy first, if that's okay. You should have a list of your applicants, and the first up at the top is the West Authority. We have 4 qualified applicants on the West Authority. You should also have on one side of the matrix, you'll see the West, and the other side you'll see the East. And with those two, you'll get the big picture context. So we have to fill Paul Dauphin, who's up for renomination this seat, which is a Jefferson West resident, and that really could be either a professional scientist, it's open, and we have to fill Michael Merritt, who's up also for renomination. We have no other applicants for Dauphin spot, so and we do have a duty to submit 2 if we have those. We don't have 2, so we don't have 2 qualified applicants. So a vote on resubmitting Dauphin, motion to that effect. And this is consistent with discussion that last time that the company is doing a good job. So, Wendell. All right, any opposed? With Merit, we have 2 additional applicants. You'll see there that Holt Fastring is from Baton Rouge, and he's a consulting engineer. We reviewed his resume last time. We also have Michael Henderson. And we think that Merritt is a highly qualified and up for renomination. We do not have a duty to submit 2 because this is a technical position. We can only submit one if we choose to. So Brian, I don't know if you and Lee had anything you wanted to add to this discussion, but I know you all were doing a little bit of checking on it.
I had a lengthy conversation with Mr. Merritt, and he has been extremely active on the board and has been very involved in making sure that we look at the levies as they, as we inherited them, make sure that they're sound. I think he's been well respected by the other committee members. Someone had brought up last time that he had moved to South Carolina. That was to be a little bit closer to family, but he still operates his business out of Baton Rouge. He's in on a regular basis. He felt that travel would not be any problem at all, and we eagerly would love to be reappointed.
And he's been operating in this mode for several years now.
Yes, yes, he has. Now, we had several good comments or referrals of him as well, people who observed the board at their practice and were very happy with Mr. Merritt's work.
I just reinforce or reiterate what Brian said about Mr. Merritt. We did look at Mr. Henderson a bit, but he does not seem to fit within the matrix of qualifications and position, in order to get the board realigned to have him fit in, if it seems to be possible with the current composition of the board.
We could technically do that, but I guess the decision is, since we have no duty to submit a second, and Merritt is clearly our very strong, at least I assume he's a strong recommendation. He's a known performer versus someone who you don't do.
Any comments, Mr. Holt? Any comments on
Mr. Fastering?
Mr. Fastering, yes. We did talk to him.
Jim, we also had lengthy conversations with Mr. Fastering as well. Sounds very committed to doing the job. And Lee, you can certainly comment. We held it over speakerphone in my office, and he was excited about the possible opportunity of that. Again, once you speak to Mr. Merritt, I think the skill set comes out pretty strongly from Mr. Merritt. James, you had something to say about Ms. Fastering?
Well, I did. I did used a little weighting scheme, if you would, based on their applications to.
Engineers do, right?
Yeah. And Mr. Holstring came out slightly above Mr. Merritt in terms of his, in terms of that weighting scheme that I used. So I think both of these are excellent candidates. And I can speak personally from Mr. Holt Fastering. I have worked with him in the past.
I did call some of his references and talk to them. They were also supportive of him and Dorothy.
Well, we need a vote. The question really is, obviously we'll assume we'll take a vote to renominate Merritt, and then we can take a vote whether or not we want to include Fastering as one of the nominees. So let's have a motion first on Merritt.
I'll move.
So that's
Second.
Second. Okay, any opposed to that? Okay. Any abstentions? On Fastering, do we have a motion to nominate Fastering with him?
I'll move to
Okay.
nominate Mr.
Do we have a
Fastering.
second on that?
Second.
Second.
For the record, the state who is making the motion
Sure. Who made this one? Wendell? No. J.M.
I missed Merritt. I
Brian made the first, and Lee
I
seconded the first.
Mr. Fastering, J.M. Drake made the motion.
Norma Jean Matei, second.
And Norma seconded. So I guess when you make a motion, just declare your name as well. Any discussion on that?
So we're submitting two names for one.
We're submitting two. We're not obligated to submit two. And so, any discussion? I'd prefer not to submit two, but it's not a strong preference. It's just simply we don't have to.
So if we do not submit two, Mr. Fastering still stays in the pool for next year. Correct?
He could reapply for next year.
He could reapply.
Yes, he certainly could. And And he had also applied for the East, and he could be a candidate for the East if a spot were to open up on the East. Currently, we don't have any non-resident spots on the East. So I know, in no way do I intend to say this isn't a terrific person. I'm just commenting, I think we don't have to do December 2nd, and I think it's it would be hard for me to say I would choose him over Merritt, given the fact that Merritt is sitting on that board and doing great work and really been engaged in the business. But that's discussion. Anyone else? Any other discussion?
I guess I don't have anything against Mr. Holt. It says send one name, I think we should send one name. But others may, I respectfully disagree with those who say otherwise, but that's okay.
So with that in mind, all those in favor of sending Holt, raise your hand.
Well, can we, you want to see if there's an objection to sending these?
Well, we just had a motion.
I would object to that.
Well, but we got a motion and a second. So you're adding your comment.
Okay.
And then we're gonna, are there any other comments? And then we'll take a vote. So now with that, all in favor of adding Holt, raise your hand. Okay, and all opposed? So we have that one falls, so we simply send
Jay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think there's some cases where you can raise your hand and you would probably count as people vote, but I think I would prefer that people really understood who was voting what on which. I think if you raise hands, you may not be able to get a good accounting in the voting process of who's really voting.
Well, I was assuming in case so far that everyone had voted in favor of what we had. We had no abstentions and no objection.
And I think that's okay.
And as long as we have that, then is that clear? Anyone uncomfortable? That was the vote. All voted in favor of Paul Dolphin. All voted in favor of Michael Merritt. No one, even though we had the motion, voted in favor of that. Okay. Next, this is where it's probably useful, Robert, to get into the matrix on the east and what we think we have here. I'll try to frame this, and then Robert, you can reinforce the comments you were making earlier. If you look at this, we have three open positions. You'll see John Barry's spot in the at-large, no requirement. Tim Duty's spot, and John Orleans. So we have a residency requirement for Orleans, a residency requirement for St. Bernard, and a residency requirement for St. Campbell. But then we have an at-large with no requirement for the at-large spot, but if we fill that with a non-technical person, it will influence our flexibility with other options. Because if you look at Paul Tilley, I believe, is only technical and would not likely qualify as except as an engineer scientist. And then Estopinal may or may not qualify as an engineer scientist, and that would, I don't think he would, I'm sorry, he may or may not qualify as a professional, non-engineer scientist. But he would be the only possibility. We'd have to go back and look at that.
Estopinal is the civil engineering representative, he's a PE, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, but he could also be managerial and professional and qualifying both, at least theoretically. I haven't looked at that one carefully. Is there anyone who knows his background off the top? None of the others, I think, would qualify out as non-engineer scientists. Most of us are one of these people are like this. So it does say that it's pretty likely that we can only add one one engineer scientist. We have to actually.
And that's going back to the question we had.
There were 3 appointments we made.
These non-professional or non-requirements for engineers mean that we cannot put an engineer on site?
No, we reminded that the standard isn't that someone can't be an engineer scientist. The standard is they have to also qualify as a non-technical professional. That means they have to have managerial experience or be managing something or doing something so they could then qualify. And a civil engineer also qualifies as any of the other engineers, and that civil engineer could also theoretically be managerial and qualify as a professional.
Yeah, Jane, the thing you handed us last week says, to qualify as a professional, a board member must have a degree from an accredited academic institution and 10 years of experience in a discipline other than engineering, geology, hydrology, or environmental science.
Right. But management of a firm, being one of those, we said was managing, and that's different than purely involved in
Jay, what about the at-large position? That could be a civil engineer, scientist, or
Yes,
professional?
let's go back, Jim. We've got if we fill that, we are free to fill that large position with any requirement we want. I assume it has to be an adult, but we don't have any other requirement. What that does, though, is it puts a constraint where we now have no flexibility to move one of the others into the overlay of no requirement. So if we have very strong technical candidates in county, they would not be qualified. None of them could be.
Right. Okay.
If we feel we have a large for the technical spot. This is one where you go back to the residency is by the individual. The professional requirements are for the board as a whole, and they have to meet, the whole board has to meet it, no particular individual. It depends, they can sit in different slots depending on the needs and the mix and match of the other. I'm not sure I explain this as well as it needs to be explained.
Jay, what I would suggest is that we look at the applicants and before we vote on them, determine which ones we think would fit suitably in the at-large versus the professional. I think it's more or less a determination whether they're engineer scientists or both.
Right.
And maybe if we had that, then we could, once we designated those,
Okay. So why don't we go through the New Orleans candidates on the list that you have in the summary list. I can distribute the resumes of the new people. I didn't make copies of all of them again, but if anyone, why don't we just run through it and see which ones we have questions about, because I know everyone's reviewed these before. I assumed that the Weiner would be technical. He's the first one up.
I would like the application for Mr. Weiner.
Weiner's clearly technical.
if anybody, I have a sit here and I'll order, come sit here, Sharon.
Let me know.
Weiner's a PE. He's got a PhD in engineering mechanics and chemical engineering. He's a government engineer from 1990 to 2008, and he's an engineering consultant, 2008 to present.
It's not part-time.
I didn't see anything in there with that.
He's clearly an engineer.
I think it's clear. Anyone see this different?
But he could serve in the at-large position.
Again, there's a trade-off.
Right.
All these people are eligible.
Correct.
It's a matter of, we can't have the wrong mix of them. They're all eligible.
Also, what's not mentioned in the resume, he's also the head of the Engineers Without Borders and helps with El Salvador, quite frankly, for water projects.
Very active.
Yes.
Yes, but that's still,
He's technical.
Technical.
He's technical.
I'm just
He's still technical.
reinforcing.
okay, anyone see this one different? Okay? Okay with this? Any question about it? Stop me before we proceed. Billy Marshall, I think Billy is, clearly has the industrial engineering degree background. Maybe we need to read that standard if he would qualify as technical.
Do we have an extra resume? Was that one that was recently?
You had that one too, yeah.
He holds a degree in industrial engineering and an MBA. I don't see that he's been an engineer, though.
I don't think he's technical.
He's not technical. He's not technical. I
Experience.
think he's a
I think
business.
it's more.
He's a business
right.
guy. I agree with you there.
Business guy.
Management, yeah, management.
Yeah.
Right. At-large. Oh,
That's Winner.
oh, that's yours, okay.
So I had him as technical, but he may not qualify. Say no.
I think it's purely professional.
Okay,
Yeah.
want to read the standard for that? What's the standard for the technical assignment?
Well, he's never been an engineer that I can tell.
Has a degree.
Definition is an engineer or professional in related fields such as geotechnical, hydrological, or environmental science.
Know that.
But he has an engineering degree, but then he got an MBA, and it looks to me like he's never really been an engineer, he's been a manager.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's correct.
His experience.
His experience
Is
as a
non-technical.
professional.
Non-technical.
So his experience is non-technical, so we say he has he clearly meets the professional.
Yes.
Managerial. And there's a question of whether or not he would meet the engineer scientist side. He hasn't practiced.
He started as a manager for products division with offshore navigation, developed and marketed the world's first vehicle as a co-owner and CEO of NDS. I don't see any technical practicing of engineering.
Okay. George Ackle, I think is clearly, the manager reread that one? I think he only qualifies as the head of department. I don't think he fits the professional manager or.
No,
He doesn't have a degree.
no degree.
More of a at-large
Right, so he's purely.
category.
Then, Hassiger, clearly professional. I guess we can come back to understanding John Barry, but I think his is clearly at large. Well, I'm not sure what.
Well,
I guess, I know John has suggested that maybe he should be counted as an engineer, but in this conversation, that would work against him. So maybe he doesn't want to stay as an engineer now, I don't know. But
Professional
it
writer.
seems to me he could
Professional writer,
be,
yeah.
he's clearly already in that large, but I think you'd have to also count him as professional.
yeah.
Yeah.